Okay. Hey, everyone, wherever you are tuning in, we are dropping an exclusive author interview with Mr. Larry Smith III. He's an extraordinaire advocate and also a best-selling author. And today we're diving in just a little bit deeper about him, his message, his story, and basically what he is advocating for. So, again, thank you so much, Larry, for coming on this platform and just sharing your message with everyone, because you never know who you could impact. You never know who
Right.
is, needing some encouragement. So I'm appreciative that we're able to come on here and, talk about this message. So um, let's just talk about where you're from, how you got started and what you're currently advocating for.
Yeah. I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I spent the early part of my childhood in Liberty, Texas. It's a town about 30 miles east of Houston. And I learned a lot of, respectful values growing up in Liberty. Uh, Part of my early childhood, spending time with my grandfather, we would pick pecans and stuff like that. So I have those memories, they stick with me. And but part of my journey is it started, pretty much it started when I was in Killeen, Texas. An incident happened to me. Most people that know me, an incident happened to me where I took a drug called ecstasy, and long story short, created some ad, it created some adversary, and but for the most part, I became chemically imbalanced from taking it, and part of my a year had went by, and things started to happen, and I drastically started to. I wanted to pretty much. I tried to commit suicide, and this sort of all of that sort of opened up a doorway for me to later on write my first book, which is Smiling Through the Pain. Um, on I believe it was around 2010 when I wrote that book, and I was also while I was writing it. I just want to let you know while I was writing it, I was going through a 2 year depression. I was on heavily on meds, and I was not as functional as I was now, and I was not as functional as I was now, and now I'm doing a lot better, and I feel like God has put me at this stage in my life to help a lot of more people that were down the avenue that I was.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very touching. Sometimes we don't understand how powerful our story is.
Hmm.
And like I said, I just commend you just speaking upon, mental health and what you went through. It's definitely going to touch a lot of our viewers on here. Can you expound upon, what kind of advice you can give people who are, experiencing that?
Well, first off, I would say to someone who is, I would say, in and out, mentally, I would say, seek help, and I would say take your medication. I would say that's the first thing because that's the start of you getting of that person getting better, and also I would also advise that, you know, whatever you enjoy doing the most, that's what you should be doing in life. Whatever you enjoy doing the most. And I I'm a firm believer that if you spend enough time with doing what you love to do, you can turn it into a six-figure income. I believe that, and I'm actually doing it now. And I'm still taking steps to get there, but I believe it in my heart that it'll happen, and but for the most part, like I say, I put it in, I put these steps and this guidance in one of my books called The Power of Achievement, which is one of my best books, I would say, out of all of them, because I, the message is clearly about doing what you love to do in life the most, and you can pretty much turn that into something that could help your life drastically in a major way. And but yeah, and mainly what I advocate for is people, who are, at home in their homes, every day, and they are, pretty much suffering, and suffering in silence. Let me say that they're suffering in silence. They don't have no one to go to, so I try to be that beacon of light so they can hopefully click this video and see, someone that was just like them, you know what I mean, and try to help them.
Absolutely. That is, I would say, the best advice, seeking help. And sometimes, we're ashamed, sometimes,
Hmm.
like you just said, suffering in silence. We think no one wants to hear our story, no one is listening to us. So
Hmm.
definitely feel like that
Yeah.
piece of advice right there is
And
definitely touch someone.
we dreadfully get down on ourselves, and we feel like, we don't want to take our mess to people. So we feel like, we're going to get judged. And I also, want to spend a little bit of time talking about the stigma of mental health. That stigma is, I went through that, like, feeling like nobody actually believes that you'll do this or do that because you have this, and you have that. So, I'm really literally here to tell people that, suffer, whatever it is, that, whatever you do has nothing to do with your intelligence level. Whatever you're going through has nothing to do with your intelligence level. It's just a matter of you actually spending time and doing it versus, feeding your pearls to swine. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So just stick with it and, do what you love to do and don't worry about what other people think. Because if I worried about what other people think, I really wouldn't even be doing this show, telling people what I'm diagnosed with. And I thank God that He's given me that gift to be able to do that, and not be ashamed of it.
Absolutely. I definitely have to agree. I mean, there are so many times that you just see so many people going through and struggling with different things, and sometimes we're in denial. So I really feel like, these words that you're speaking and your purpose and advocacy really is touching people and really is impacting others. So I definitely am appreciative. I'm definitely appreciative of that.
Thank you.
So let's see. Let's tell us a little bit about your other collection of books as well.
Well, I'll first dive into Smiling Through the Pain. That's a 62-page book of poems about, a collection of poems that there was everything inside of me at that moment. You know what I mean? And I sat at a kitchen table, pretty much writing it every day. And, the book after that came The Other Side of Ecstasy, which was, goes into detail about what the drug did to me and stuff like that. So I pretty much got a chance to elaborate on everything that happened during the time I took that drug. And the words flowed smoothly, and I had someone to help me get that story out and publish it. And his name is Carl Allen. He's also a publisher. He has a publishing company, so I thank him for helping me with that. But my third book, is The Power of Achievement. Like I was telling you earlier, that is one of my best books, and it is my best book, I believe. And the last one is Black Gold Down Under, which is about an African American family. It's fiction, but it's about a family, who started out in the beginning very poor. They struggled to make ends meet, and sooner or later, the dad finds out after he loses his job. He finds out that his two kids discovered oil in their backyard as they were playing. You know what I mean? So overnight he sat and he thought about it, and he said, how am I going to take care of my family? And then sooner or later, he ended up hiring someone, a specialist to see about the oil in his yard. And then so they took things to court, and everything, they ended up winning, and everything went up from there.
Awesome.
And then my right now, I haven't started on it, but I just made the book cover as I showed you. Uh, it's called my fifth book that I'm working on is called The Search for Lydia, and it's going to be a mystery suspense novel that goes into detail about how she disappeared, how what town she was in, which is Santa Fe, New Mexico. How things got started, and it has a bit of a twist to it. You'd have to figure it out, and that's the whole, pretty much the whole point of mystery. I one thing about me as a writer, I've noticed about myself is that I started with poetry, memoir, and then self help, and then I went into fiction, and now I'm going into mystery. So I pretty much always have a new genre every time I start. So I'm hoping and praying that I get picked up by a publisher, because I've been submitting proposals to some in England and in the UK, because I just have a good feeling about that, and that's really where I want to be published at. And I feel like at this rate, if I just keep writing and writing and doing what I love, that I'll be successful and I'll get published by a traditional publisher.
Absolutely. That is what.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
As a fellow poet, it is so exciting and thrilling to hear just someone's work of art, and to see
Mhm.
them venture off into other genres. So I'm excited that people are tuning in. It's
Yeah,
impact. So
yeah.
I'm excited for you.
And I really want to elaborate on that. People, when they hold a book in their hands for the first time, some people really see the work in it, and some people say, "Oh, this, they, this is not doesn't look like hard work." But as you know, it is work. It's work.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
You have such a variety in your collection. So wherever someone sees fit with the mental health part, with the poetry, I feel like it will definitely, soar, especially where you're trying to go,
Hmm.
internationally. So I'm excited for you. I'm very excited. So a part of that, as an author, what type of support feeds your soul, especially, being an advocate, you know, when you're doing book signings, what type of engagement, or is there any type of reviews or rapport? Like, what type of support, like, gets you going and keeps you motivated?
I'm glad you asked that question, because it's very important. Because as a writer, you go into becoming an author, and then you say to yourself, "What's next?" But then you start thinking like, "Man, I can't be a poor author. I have to make money." So, but as I've been doing, I've been equating my writings to trying to be successful and make money. But what really moves me a lot is that the feedback I get from readers, and I think that is the whole purpose of writing, is to intrigue readers and get their attention, and and hold their attention. So you know uh, just as well as it's nice to be able to make money from writing, it is also on the same scale level, just about as getting feedback from readers. You know what I mean? It's a very impactful feeling, because it really shows that people enjoy your work, they got something from it, and they respect you as a writer. And we want to be respected.
Absolutely. I would say that is the biggest portion. So you are doing just a phenomenal job. I love all of your work. I haven't read every single piece, but I'm tuned in.
Mhm.
I'm tuned.
Thank you. Yeah.
So with that next piece in, so as an author, are you a part of the writing, groups, Facebook groups, Instagram groups, or are you a part of any other, communities that really, when you're having a tough time, or when you're just like stuck in writer's block and you need some
Hmm.
more motivation, who inspires you? What kind of questions, or do you have any support as far as community groups?
Yeah, well, I really I actually I'm a part of a group called Black Authors Network on Facebook, and I don't know, but I really feel it is important as a, a person of color, to be able to write stories and stuff, because at one point in time, black people wasn't able to read, and had anti-literacy laws against them. So, I feel like, it is a very big step in any black author that is actually writing and, trying to get to the next level and entertain readers and stuff. So, I do take pride in that, and but pretty much, uh, I'm with other groups on there too. It's just that not too many, but Black Authors Network is pretty much the main one, and there's some other ones, like I was saying. But there are a lot of writing groups on Facebook. It's just there are a lot of them.
Yes, I would always say, if we have any questions or need additional support, it's a great way to segue into other markets. Sometimes we
Hmm.
don't have all the answers. We come out thinking, oh, it's going to be the on the bestsellers list in the first day, and then sometimes we have
Yeah.
hope.
The leg work that goes with it. There's so many avenues for a writer to make money, but to sell their work, you know what I mean. But you really have to do the leg work. As far as like right now, um, I would advise a new writer, to really just go into the schools and the school districts, and try to fill out a vendors list, to get on the vendors list where teachers and librarians can order your work through the schools. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of legwork as far as also getting your books into Walmart and stores and things of that nature. I think that is the other side of publishing a book that is very important. So when I say Walmart, I don't just mean Walmart. I mean like other stores, like Target and things of that nature. And but getting into these stores is important, and I believe that you can do it. If you just hire the right person and or take the time to do it yourself. There's steps to it. It's legwork, but it could be done. You just have to follow every step that you have to give them everything that they're asking for, and then and you'll get in there.
Absolutely. That was perfect. I agree. Wow. Hmm. So, as a impeccable and remarkable storyteller, do you see your work on the big screens, other platforms, breaking the internet, where someday you may create something and it just turns out to be, the number one. You make a whole bunch of money off of it. Like, do you see yourself in that arena?
That is the goal for me. Is the goal for me is to make money as an author, but the number one goal for me, honestly, the number one goal for me is to see my work on TV, because when you write something and it's a story, you immediately as an author, you want to see it come to life. So you want to see it on the big screen. And I feel that like I had a friend of mine told me one time, he said if you can he said someone else told him this, that if you can see the invisible, then you can do the impossible. So you can see it, you have to see it. As an author, you can just be a writer, and going about your everyday life, but to be able to envision something and keep that vision and keep working towards it, eventually it'll happen. So I really do see myself, you know, who knows, in the next year or maybe two, or you know, um, on the big screen, and hopefully selling a lot of books around the world. Maybe starting in the UK. I don't know where it's gonna be, but that would be my hopes, dreams, and aspirations, to get a writing agent, in the UK, or or in the United States. It doesn't really matter, just, but I'm just hoping it happened. And in order for that to work, I have to submit writing proposals to agents, doing it the traditional way, because when you self-publish, you already independent. So you have to really work hard to get on that higher scale as an author. So it can be done, but with the faith in God and your work that yourself, it'll happen, in due time.
Oh, that is so great to hear. Like, I can just hear your name. It's ringing bells, in these
I
platforms.
hope so.
Oh, just like you said, if you see it, you can believe it. So
Yeah.
that's the goal for you, to go international. So I see that for
Yeah.
you. So one last question. What sets you apart from these other authors and writers? Is there a difference between an author and a writer?
That's another good question you just asked. I was reading up on that a few weeks ago, and somebody said, "What's the difference between an author and a writer?" A writer, I believe, a writer is somebody that has that just likes to write, and they have compiles of writing, but ultimately, what sets a writer apart from an author, my my opinion is that they take all those writings that they've been writing, and they publish it, and you become an actual author. But it doesn't mean that because you've been writing that you cannot become an author. It doesn't mean that you're not a writer because you write a lot. It just means that you just haven't taken it further than just writing. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then there's a lot of jobs out here that hire you as a freelancer and stuff like that. But I don't really see myself doing that. The time that I have is the only time that I have to put into my work until I have free time to be able to write for someone else. And the mission that I'm on is to get to the next level with my work, because that's I don't have a lot of time, and so but for the most part, yeah, freelancers and stuff like that. But yeah.
I love to always ask that.
Yeah, that is a really good question.
I love to always hear the feedback and response. It's just amazing to hear that. But you guys, I appreciate you for tuning in today for this exclusive author interview with Mr. Larry Smith III. Again, he's an extraordinaire advocate and best-selling author, and I just commend him again talking about his experiences, his story, his books, and talking about mental health. Sometimes again, we are just afraid to speak up, speak out. But how
Mhm.
else are we going to help others, reach their best versions of themselves and turn around their negative mindsets? So, Larry, where can we find you? Where can we connect, and look at your work of art? Look at, how you're doing, how you're progressing, and the next things you're working on.
Well, my website is being built right now, and it should be up and running by later on this afternoon, I believe. If not today, you can always check back this coming Monday. It's www.larrywaltersmith.com. Author LarryWaltersmith.com. I'm sorry. Author LarryWaltersmith.com. So that's pretty much. And then also, my most of my work is on Amazon, and most of it is on Amazon. And because I just went from being published on Amazon to Ingram Spark, and Ingram Spark is pretty much, I have to say this, is a little bit better than being published on KDP, because they give you a 55% discount for the stores, for to put your book in the stores, because stores look at that, they look at, okay, if I'm buying your book, I can get a 55% discount. And the one other thing that is important is that they give you, Ingram Spark gives you a return availability, meaning that they can return your books if they don't sell, the stores. So Those two things right there, 55% discount and return availability, is very, very important when you're trying to get your book sold in stores. Because I don't think you just want to write a book and just sit on it for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So those two things are very important. So you can find them on Amazon, also on Walmart.com. You can find them there, and pretty much like the names of them are Smiling Through the Pain, The Other Side of Ecstasy, The Power of Achievement, and Black Gold Down Under. And my new upcoming book that'll be done around about December or January of 2022. Uh, it will be probably it'll be done, yeah, around December. Um what I was gonna say, something I missed out on. Yeah, it'll be done by then. But it'll be called The Search for Lydia. That's the name of it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. It was such an impactful interview for me as well. So I know someone out there has also got the drip, the sauce. You can find him all over social media. So thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you, Larry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.